Welcome to No Stats, where we call it how we see it.
Back again with another one.
Yes, sir, bro. And I think we might have saw one of the craziest NBA playoff games, at least of our lifetime. Not to mention the circumstances, right? Being down 3-0, Boston Celtics being down 3-0 to the Miami Heat. Winning those two games and then going back to Miami. Peach was on the Let's See History Happen train. I was on the Jimmy Butler and the Heat culture will handle it in Game 6. And we got a game that I don't think could be written in a book better than it was actually played out. Derrick White got the game winning tip in with time expiring. After Jimmy Butler hit 3 huge free throws to take the lead with 2 seconds left. Just an amazing game, bro. We was texting throughout like, yo. I think we might have texted wild back and forth like crazy, bro. So take me into this game, bro. Take me into what you saw, and everything. Just give me your synopsis. And
first off, man, who doesn't, even dating back to the 2020 bubble, who doesn't like a Miami Heat Boston Celtics playoff series now? Yeah. We've been getting spoiled for years now. And just to see these teams, the growth in the players and how far they've came, man, this shit like fucking WrestleMania, man, when we had The Rock and Triple H and all these big name guys. But man, that game last night, bro, is just the grit, the grind, the effort, the intensity. Miami Heat never dying out. Like, they don't die
in any
out.
Game, you got to kill them.
Come on, bro. You have to stomp them out the whole 48 minutes. You can't let off the gas for 1 second, because that one little window you leave open, and you saw they had an opportunity to win it. Jimmy Butler said that. One stop. And bro, the energy surrounding that game, and for it to come down to that play, Derrick White got that ball off in a point of a second, bro.
Bro, the odds.
Like, who the fuck doesn't love this sport, man?
Yeah.
And just for Boston to even be in this circumstance, being down 3-0 and fighting it and clawing the whole way back. They had one kind of blowout game, and that was that game 5 in Boston. But other than that, every game's been grit and grind and tooth and nail. And man, I still can't wrap my head around that game last night, man. Like,
yeah, I don't think I can either, bro.
Miami.
And I think anybody that had the notion, because I know there was some chatter around going around that was saying maybe the NBA is going to rig this to have the first team. You can't rig that scenario.
You can't.
You know what I mean? Like, that's pure just basketball gods and just, things happen in the way that it's supposed to happen. But a few things I took away from the game. One being what you said, Miami Heat is never out of a game. I mean, they did it all playoffs long, being down 10 double digits in the fourth quarter and coming back and making it a game and usually winning those games, right? But one thing I seen was that the Heat they've been shooting the 3-ball really well in the playoffs, but I think they've been shooting it a little too much, right? I mentioned that in one of the previous episodes about how they weren't a top 3-point shooting team, but they're starting to hit it in the playoffs. And there were a few Duncan Robinson threes down that stretch that just didn't look like confident shots. Like, you can tell when somebody let that thing go and they have confidence that it's going in. He shot 2 threes, bro. I don't know if you remember the threes I'm talking about, but Duncan Robinson, I think one was to tie, the other one might have been to take the lead.
I remember that.
Shot him.
I definitely remember the one that tried to take the lead.
And when he let it go, like, you know how after you let a shot go, you kind of stand there with confidence. You could tell like he was like hoping it went in. And I just didn't like those shots. Like, if you're going to shoot the ball, I'm okay with it. But just shoot that thing knowing you're going to make it. So those wasn't the best shots to me. If you're not confident, pass that thing. Let's get another shot. Because it was off of offensive rebound, I believe. At least one of those shots. Another thing was Jimmy Butler struggled. From the field. I mentioned he played well in other areas of the game. But from the field, he struggled. Missed some shots that I expected Jimmy Butler to make. He did have a big fourth quarter, so it's not like he had a horrible game. But I expected this game 6, and I think I mentioned this as well. I expected Jimmy Butler to take over this game 6 at home and seal the deal with probably a 40-piece, a 45-5 game at home.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what he wanted to do, but the shots, the looks he was getting that he usually make just wasn't going in. But he stayed aggressive throughout the game, right? And that's all you can ask at that point. Stay aggressive, either get to the free throw line late in that fourth quarter. And I think that was his, he decided my shot not falling, I'm going to get to the free throw line. They playing aggressive. And that was kind of smart. A big game like that, they want to try to defend and get this one bad. I'm going to get to the free throw line. And
I was surprised, too, that they was even, like, for them to even be in that spot, the way Jimmy and Bam struggle, it's like, if I'm the Heat, I'm still confident. You know what I mean? I'm still confident going into this Game 7. You already done got 2 in Boston this series. So I'm excited for this Game 7.
And how many people, real fast, how many people would lose money if the Heat won Game 7? Because I think now everybody's on the Boston. Like, the population has switched now. Like, everybody's on the Boston train now.
And that's my thing about the narrative around. Like, the narrative changes during the season, but the narrative really changes game by game in the playoffs. Like, literally game by game. Like, we was already, after the Heat went up 3-0, we was already talking about their matchup versus the Nuggets and what type of series that was going to be. Yeah. And, like, I know it's cheesy to say, but it's the first team to win 4, not 3. And I'm surprised. I'm honestly surprised that Miami's in this spot. I thought, after the Celtics got 1, I thought maybe, in the back of my mind, my initial pick is that, let's witness some history. But,
right.
I just couldn't help but to feel like, Miami will maybe get Game 5 or maybe get Game 6. It's going to be tough for them to get this one in Boston, I think, with the energy and the atmosphere surrounding this game. I feel like this is going to go down as probably the most watched Game 7 in history with everything surrounding it.
I like that prediction. I think it'll be highly rated. I don't know about most watched because of the star power, but I think there might have been Game 7, like Game 7 of the Warriors and Cavs. Just because of the star power, because of the Steph Curry, what's his name, or Game 7. I'm not sure if the Heat and the Spurs, did they go 7 when Brown won that, or was that 6?
They did go 7 when Ray Allen hit that shot.
Right. So just because of the names, right? And I know Jimmy and Jason Tatum is, superstars in their own rights. But I do think it's going to be highly watched. I think it's going to get a lot of people to turn that TV on.
You know what else I saw yesterday?
What's that?
The Heat are finally starting to miss Tyler Hero. I know they won 3 games in this series, but you can just tell that, I'm not going to say that they figured Jimmy out, but if you seen the way Jimmy was struggling yesterday, it was a couple block shots. They were being real physical with him. He was, still getting to his spots, but Jimmy doesn't have that type of game to where, like, he's going to counter his third counter. Jimmy has spots on the floor where he gets to, where he uses his body, uses his athleticism to get to the basket, to get to the line, to get to those spots where he feel more comfortable in. And I think Boston is starting to now do a good job of, pushing him off of his spots, meeting him at the rim, making the ref call these 50-50 calls. And that, that's credit to Boston and, making the tweaks that they made. Derrick White's making, things tough on him. I definitely expect Jimmy to be huge in this Game 7. I know our no stats player prop didn't hit taking his over, but you definitely want to take that this game. You definitely want to take that this game.
3 different things. I'm about to throw a lot at you, bro, but I want your opinion. One being Al Horford's play. That block on Bam,
Huge.
loose ball, them getting the ball back to Bam, Bam trying to go up, and Al Horford blocking that shot. For a veteran this late in his career, a guy like Al Horford, the undersized center, to be given what he's given to this Boston Celtics team, man, I just wanted to mention him because that was a big play that kind of, I think the Heat were gaining momentum. They were cutting into that lead. And I know they still took the lead, but I thought Al Horford did a tremendous job down that stretch of just being that anchor, especially on the defensive end down low. I know he got that foul on Jimmy Butler, but that block on Bam was huge.
It was huge, bro. Big plays. And that's why you have guys like him in the rotation playing these big minutes, because they've experienced it before. They've seen this before. They make plays like this time and time again. And one thing I love about Al is even when his shots, he's been struggling like mightily in this series offensively, but he's still been hitting the glass. He still's been playing great defense. He makes great plays, and his voice and his leadership is, I think, a slept on commodity in this locker room for the Boston Celtics. He's been on this run with them, these Eastern Conference Finals runs. He's been a part of, I think, all of them, to be honest with you. I know he had that 1 year where he went to Philly, got bought out on OKC later on that year, but eventually returned to Boston the following season. But I think that, his presence and that sort of, that togetherness that they have, it comes up big in moments like this, man.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. And I'll combine these last two questions into one. First part, are the 8-seeded Miami Heat running out of gas? And then the second part of that question is, can they still win Game 7?
I think they are running out of gas slightly, but I still think they are playing on emotion, like not necessarily like a negative emotion, but that emotion to feel like we're still underdogs, that underdog emotion, that underdog feeling.
And they might have got it back, right?
Yeah, like they like the circumstances being in how they lost, the fashion that they lost, and them also already getting 2 games in Boston. They're familiar with it. The circumstances of being in this predicament last year. It was in Miami though last year, that Game 7, wasn't it? Yeah, and that we'll come back to that.
Yeah.
I think it was definitely in Miami. But losing my train of thought. But for them to have, for them to go through the play-in tournament, you got to think like, they beat the Bucks in what, 5? They beat the Knicks in what, 5?
6, right? Or was it 5?
I think it was 6.
I think it was 6.
But I think this series, they've given it their all. I've mentioned Tyler Hero again, needing him out there. And what was the second question you asked me, bro?
Do they have a chance? And I was just about to add to it. Do they have a chance to win Game 7, and what percentage do you give them? Like, is it a 50-50 chance?
I'm thinking
60-40?
I'm going to say 70-30, 70 Boston, 30% Miami. Miami's beat the odds all playoffs, man. And I honestly think, like, even though they blow, and I'm gonna have that question for you. I want to ask you, but I just think that all the momentum has shifted to Boston's side, man. Boston's TD Garden is gonna be fucking electric.
That was the other thing I was gonna say too, bro. This is a Game 7, but if it's Game 7 in Minnesota, New Orleans, Oklahoma City, like, not to take it away from those markets, Milwaukee, but this is Boston, bro. It's gonna be loud. It's gonna be heckling. This is a storied franchise. It's gonna be tough to go in there, but I think if anybody could go in there, it'd be Eric Spoelstra, Jimmy Butler, and that Heat team.
That's why I give them that 30%. Quick question though.
Yeah.
If the Heat lose, they're gonna be remembered. I mean, we kind of got the obvious answer for that, but from a basketball perspective, are they going to be remembered as that 8th seed to make this historical run, or are they gonna be more remembered for the team that blew the 3-0 lead?
Question. That's a great question, bro. And I think because of one, their seed, right? Them being an 8 seed, I think a lot of people were projecting Boston to still make this a game, and if it was going to happen, this could be the time it happened. I think if the roles were reversed, like if this was Boston blowing the 3-0 series, I think it would be more, right? But I think the way, like you said, going through the play-in, beating Milwaukee, beating the Knicks, and it ties into that question, are they running out of gas? Truly speaking, how many people had this much faith in Miami before the playoffs started to get to this point, right? And I know right now we got to take everything at face value and live in the present, and they were up 3-0, and you're supposed to seal the deal, right? So this is still going to be on their record, but at the end of the day, looking at it, it's way more digestible, I guess, with it being an 8 seed than if it was a 1 seed, a 2 seed, a 3 seed, a team that you expect to win the finals and they blow a 3-0 lead. Because, it kind of lingers with star players and really good teams a little more. I think it'll be mentioned, right, with a guy like Jimmy and with this Heat culture, but I don't think it'll be as emphasized, if the roles are reversed. What you think?
I agree. To a certain point, I think because it being the first ever, I don't think they're gonna be able. I know I can see us.
They can't escape,
and not necessarily us. I can see, Jimmy's career, coming up in conversations and that being like a blemish, and then you counter that with, but they were an 8 seed. Did you know what went on? But they're still gonna be. I think that's still gonna slightly overshadow the fact that you guys were up 3-0. Like rankings after that, I feel as though they diminish.
Right.
And for a team like that not to be able to get 1 game, and if they win it in 7, shit, you know what I mean? It won't even matter. Like it won't even matter.
I love Jimmy's attitude, bro, because like he said they was gonna win Game 6, and to lose in that fashion and to come out and say we're gonna win a Game 7, I love it. I love it, bro. I love Jimmy, the fact. What else are you going to say? Right? Like, you just lost that heartbreaking loss, and you felt like you had the game. You got to roll with your guns and build that. It's still that confidence in yourself. Sometimes you say things and you make yourself believe it. And as a leader, if you believe it, you lead from the front of the pack, and you let everybody else follow and believe it. Oh, okay, Jimmy said we're going to win it. Maybe we can win it. It's not over. We just had them on the hills. Right. So I love Jimmy's attitude. But it's definitely not over, and I can bet you a lot of money. A lot of people are going to put a lot of money on the Boston Celtics in Game 7.
Oh man, you know what's so funny?
Fade the public.
Yo, look, you know what's so funny? Since we talk about betting, I want to shout out my man Mike, one of the CEOs in the Mouthside Sports Discord. He last night he put a heavy unit. I think he put around like 250 on the Heat live. I think this is around like late third quarter. The payout was around like 1,100, and remember, I think it got like down to like the 4-minute mark. He had got down like 8 or something like that. And Duncan Robinson started heating up, and then when Jimmy went to the line, hit them 3, just the anxiety game, bro, was.
And then the Marcus Smart shot. Like, let's not forget the Marcus Smart shot. Like, when he shot that, I'm like, oh, it's over.
Oh, yeah.
It's over. That's a bad shot. It's over. It's over. That's a bad shot.
From the 3?
Contested. Oh, it's over. Miami won. They're going to the chip. And the fact that he tipped it in, and I'm like, that didn't count. And then they showed it again, and I was like, oh, shit.
Can you imagine losing off that fashion? Like, bro, this is why
I've seen so many videos, bro, of Heat fans at weddings in their house celebrating, bro, and then realizing that they lost, and just the oxygen just got sucked out the room.
Bro, this is why we love this game so much, though, bro. Like, like all the shit that you needed to right, like in a way. You needed Marcus Smart to shoot that shot at that fucking angle. Right. Because if he turns, bro, and caught going this way and shot.
Yep.
If he catches going the opposite way, that shit might go right.
If
Derrick
he
White,
misses,
the inbounder. Like,
Yep.
come on, bro.
Bro, it's the only sport where you can lose a game in 0.2, 0.3 seconds. You can't lose a game in no other sport in 0.2, 0.3 seconds. But basketball.
Shit's wild, bro.